On this day in history, 1870, the U.S. Weather Bureau made its first meteorological observations. I'm going to take a shot in the dark and say these observations were slightly more sophisticated than my own. Mine go a little like this. According to my nipples, fall is almost over. Live from Wattpad Nation, it's the Core Booth, your weekly broadcast where we talk about all things centered around the big orange W. And we are very happy to bring you episode 31, Think Nano, Write Big. And of course, we are talking about NaNoWriMo, which is shorthand for National Novel Writing Month. 50,000 words in 30 days. And guess what? It starts today. So all of you who have taken the pledge, put on the coffee or tea or whatever you drink while you write, now it's the marathon. It's all starting right now. And we're really going to dig into this tonight. We have an amazing panel for you to discuss this with you. We have Marian Avalon, Jessica B. Fry, and Darley Jameson. And at the top of every broadcast, of course, we have to give them a little high five. And so today, what we're going to do is play a little game called Literary Love Child. And it's a game that kind of combines two well-known stories, blends them together in a way, and these panelists are going to take a chance or take a stab at guessing the titles. Now, panel, in order for, as soon as I get done reading the synopsis and you would like to make a guess, you can just type anything in the message chat as your buzzer and hit enter when you think you've got your guess. Remember, there are two titles, and yeah, we'll see how this goes. All the high fives are kind of random and everything like that. But before we start the game, of course, we do want to say hello to all our live viewers. Lucy Rhodes, May, how are you? Rachel Mole, Rita Kovac is in the house as well. Hello, Rita. Jody Petrella, of course. Hello, Jody. Ricky Pine. I don't want to miss anybody. Carl O'Connor, what's up, Carl? How you doing, buddy?
It's Amy.
Yes. Oh, yeah, May. Yeah, got her. Absolutely. Can't miss May. Not at all. So here we go. Let's get this kicked off. In the live chat, if you would like to take a guess at what this synopsis is trying to cover, please take your best shot. Maybe you'll get it before the panel does. Who knows? We'll see what happens. All right, panel. Let's see how you do with this. All right, here we go. Let me get it so I can see you guys type as well. All right, number one. An adventurer snaps into Technicolor and travels down a yellow brick road, skipping alongside a cowardly lion, a witch, and an ornate armoire. Oh, okay. Jessica, what do you got?
All right. Wait, was that done?
Yeah, that was done.
Oh, okay. Well, one is the Wizard of Oz, and is the other one Beauty and the Beast, referencing the Enchanted Armoire?
Oh, you got the first part right.
I see the Narnia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think you each have a point. It's cool. You're good. Teamwork. I'm all about teamwork.
Yes,
it's fun.
teamwork.
All right, here we go. Number two. An older gentleman opens an amusement park like none other. Those holding one of 5 golden tickets get a chance to see creatures spawn from amber-encased mosquitoes and frog DNA.
I got one.
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah. I have one.
Let's see if anybody from the... Okay, oh, man. No, nobody's got it in the live chat either. I see... Oh, hey, Issa Archangel is here as well. Awesome. Yes, I believe Ricky Pine got it. Jurassic Park and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, I got Charlie.
Very nice, Ricky Pine. Very nice. All right. So they are getting progressively harder. They are.
Oh, no.
Number 3. A young, mysterious millionaire of the roaring 20s comes across a peculiar travel guide which comes in handy for anyone taking a trip beyond our solar system.
I think I have one.
Yeah.
I think I might have one, yeah.
I've got one.
Okay, all right. Take a guess at the first one.
The Great
I'm thinking
Gatsby.
Christian Grey.
Okay, The Great Gatsby, yes. That's one. A young mysterious millionaire of the Roaring Twenties, The Great Gatsby, comes across a peculiar
yeah,
travel
yeah,
guide which comes in handy for anyone taking a trip beyond our solar system.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yes, Miss Robin!
Oh, yes.
Absolutely! Very nice, very nice. Ricky Pine is on top of this. Lucy Rhodes, good, good, very nice. I like it a lot. Number 4, here we go. An engineer from Connecticut tumbles down a rabbit hole and into a royal court where he must go toe-to-toe with King Arthur and the Queen of Hearts.
Oh, I know this one.
Wonderland.
Jessica, do you know the whole thing?
I think I do. Alice in Wonderland and a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court.
Oh, very nice. And for a bonus point, can you give me the
I had no
correct
idea what
title
that one was.
of Alice in Wonderland?
I
Let's
had
see.
Alice in Wonderland. I didn't have the other one.
Through the Looking Glass? Is that what you're asking for?
Ooh, no.
No, the
It's
sequel?
actually shorthand for, or Alice in Wonderland is shorthand for Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
Yes, very nice. But yeah, Jessica, clean it up. Seriously, that's awesome. Great job. Ricky Pine is really, really good at this game. He needs to come in and show us how it's done. So, Jessica Fry, I'm going to give that to you. Congratulations. You win a big high five from me. Yeah! And that brings us over to the portion of the broadcast that we like to call Cream or Sugar. And it's my favorite part of the broadcast because it gives us a chance to put you, Wattpad Nation, in the spotlight. Whether you're a relatively unknown Wattpadder who has risen to the surface of these panelist libraries, which we call Cream, or Sugar, an established Wattpadder whom they're just wanting to show some love, throw a little sugar at, this is your place. And I'm going to start with Marion Avalon. Who would you like to recognize for Cream or Sugar?
So the Cream is Michaela Banda, all in one word. Yeah, that's one. And her story is called Expiration Date, which is in itself quite an intriguing title. I'll read you the synopsis. The society knows when we're going to die. They imprint it on our arms at birth. I was supposed to die yesterday. I'm the girl who expired.
I love it. This has been going on for a while because I think she started this last year.
I think so, yeah. And she's actually in the Wattie. She was actually an entry in the Wattie. And
she's actually #1 in science fiction, so that's pretty awesome too.
And she's hit 1.7 million reads and 80,000 votes.
Absolutely amazing. Fantastic.
And my sugar is a adorable woman on Wattpad that we all know and love, Helen Rawl, whom Sarah has also shouted out a while back, but she's so sweet, I think she deserves another one. And she's actually started reading all of my stuff, and I mean all of it. My fanfics, my original work, all of it, and she votes for it all. She always says it's amazing, she's always adorable, so kudos to her.
Is there any specific conversation that, kind of puts her over the edge with everything? Because I know a lot of people, Wattpad is great for the fact that you get to interact with other people, whether they're right next door or on the other side of the earth. And I don't know, sometimes it's just the way that these people reach out to you. Is there a specific conversation that kind of made it what it was, at least for you?
Well, the very first comment she wrote to me was, I love this is amazing, and very thoroughly enjoying. I think it was for No Way in Heaven or Hell, because I'd actually put it up for the story fair that had been going on shortly before, which I think about the time she started reading my stuff, she must have come across it through there, or maybe Sarah told her about me, I'm not sure, or she heard about me through the corner booth. But,
word of mouth, that's the best way to get heard.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank you, Miss Marianne. Jessica Fry, who do you got for Cream or Sugar?
Well, today I have a cream. This is one of the lovely new Wattpad users who I actually just recently met through a Wattpadres Twitter conversation. Her name is Becca Clark Books on Wattpad, and I started reading her story, The Last Journey of the Sacrifice. It's a dystopian novel, but she's really working to engage with a lot of the stereotypes and the concepts, and so far what I see with it, we've got interesting sibling relationships. The main character is 17 years old, and she is going to qualify as an aspirant of sacrifice. So there's a new cycle that's getting ready to start. They've got to go through this radiated world and all of these interesting challenges. It looks like a survival story and a friendship story, and it's been a fun one to start with. She's writing it raw and posting it up on Wattpad, and she's a great person to talk to. So quite enjoying getting to know her, and I'm really enjoying her story.
I just want to use that word somewhere, aspirant. I have no idea how to properly use it. I don't know. But it's an awesome word. I love it. I love it.
I love the cover. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a really good cover. I mean, check that out. Like, some people, I don't know how they get these really great blends together, but man, unreal. Really good job.
Yeah.
Okay. Darlie Jameson, what do you got for us?
I have chosen Cream this week as well. This is a new Wattpadder by the name of Nikki D. Allen. And the first thing she has put out there is called Words a Mother Never Heard. And I'm pulling up my Wattpad. I'm going to read you her blurb. It's sort of it's kind of a cross between poetry and a memoir. She says, a young woman who was always the life of the party, quick to tell a joke, always smiling and happy, tragically dies at age 23. What her mother found after her death reflected a much different young woman, her poetry. Her words showed a young woman crying out to feel loved, wanted, beautiful, and worthy, struggling to accept herself as the wonderful, happy, beautiful young woman everyone else saw her as. Her words reflect the pain and torment she allowed another to cause her. It is her mother's most heartfelt desire to reach even one young person struggling to accept themselves, to encourage them to open up and talk to someone, to know they are never alone, to know their feelings are validated. She also hopes to reach a mother that perhaps feels her daughter is perfect and completely in charge of her life, as mothers often do. After reading her poetry, hopefully it will facilitate conversation, confirm unconditional love, and help to end words that a mother never hears. I am her mother, and these are her words. And it was basically her daughter passed away in a car accident, and afterward she was cleaning out her apartment, and she stumbled across several, I think she said around 100 poems, and they weren't all together. They were just scattered throughout her room, and she basically discovered that her daughter was struggling with things that she never shared, and she would wear, one face around everyone, but really she had things that she was struggling with. And what she has done in her book is she has shared some of her daughter's poetry, and then one chapter will be a memoir, kind of showing you where her daughter was at that point in her life, and then she'll share some more of her poetry, and it goes back and forth. And it was a really good read. I thought it was funny at times and heartbreaking at times, and it was something that I've never seen on Wattpad quite like that before. And because it was all true, it just really packed a punch, and I really enjoyed reading it.
That's great. Thank you so much, Darlie. And I think just that tug of war between, something that makes you laugh and something that just you want to tear up. It's just that's an amazing contrast, and especially for poetry. Wow. Absolutely fantastic poets we have on Wattpad. And this is going to segue into what we call the entree. It's the meat of the discussion that we tackle every single week. And, of course, we are talking NaNoWriMo. And, Jessica, I just kind of want to pick your brain about this. It's an exciting time of the year for writers worldwide. As someone who has participated in the month-long marathon, I'd like for you to share your first experience. What drew you in, Jessica, and how did you sustain your pace? What did you learn?
Let's see. Well, that was quite a while back, and I had heard rumors about this amazing program code, and everyone kept talking about NaNoWriMo on one of the writing groups where I was at through Yahoo groups at that time. That was back when, that was about the only way to connect with people was through Yahoo groups. And I was so excited at the idea of you could finish an entire novel in a single month. So I tried to convince my parents to let me do it because at that time I was still, living with them and I was a young teen. And they told me, no, if I really wanted to do it, I could just do it on my own, but I couldn't join the site. So I didn't get to use a lot of the tools at first, but I had some other friends who I had met, and we started holding each other accountable and just dove in, and I wrote an absolutely dreadful novel. Absolutely horrific.
I don't really believe that, but okay.
It was terrible, and it was really funny because I have since tried to rewrite it, and it really is garbage. But I had a great time doing it and learning how to just be disciplined with my writing and let go and stop always second-guessing myself, because even though the novel itself was terrible, the components that went into it, the things that I discovered and that I was later able to use, all ended up being quite helpful. So it was a fantastic experience, very overwhelming, and that was when I first really started using the eat the elephant one bite at a time. And I started using word logs, and there was a point right about in the middle of November, and I was thinking, I'm never going to make it. And then my dad told me, yeah, if you have that attitude, you won't, so don't complain about it. Yeah, he's very straightforward. He didn't want to hear me complaining about it, and he encouraged me to keep going or to give up, but just decide and do it. So that was my first NaNoWriMo experience, and I actually did make it to 50,000 words, right down to that line. And yeah, the search, definitely a dreadful story, but I've cannibalized it into other stories, and it was a good experience.
I think a lot of people, they go into NaNoWriMo thinking, 50,000 words, I could totally do that. It's a piece of cake. And then when you actually start breaking it down, it's a lot. And then if you get behind a day, even a day, it's just, you want to die.
Yeah.
Yep. Do you know a little bit about this, Mariette, about falling behind and trying to catch back up?
Officially or something. What I did was, I used the 50,000 words in a month to finish the first draft of No Way. So to put it in time for the Watties last year, actually. And I was thinking, oh my God, I have this many words per day to write. Okay, so write. And if I was a bit behind, all right, I'll add a bit more tomorrow. And what I did was I put different colours each day, so I knew exactly where I was.
You're color coordinated? That's adorable. Yeah. That's adorable. I like that. All right, we are going to question number 1. And please, if you have any questions, you can, if you're watching live, please ask them in our live chat. If you're watching this as a recording, don't hesitate to use the comment section down below. Or you can use our hashtag TCBWatt on Twitter. We would love to answer these questions in real time, or get to them next week if you're watching this later in the week. So, as I said, we're going into question number 1. In your opinion, what is the first thing a writer should do after taking on this challenge? Why do you think that's so critical? Darlie, I'm going to start with you.
First thing they should do is start writing because they've got a lot of words to get out there in 30 days. But actually, I think that they should prepare long before signing up. There are things that you're allowed to do that will help keep you on track, like make an outline. That's going to be very helpful because, I know a lot of people like to what do they say, write by the seat of their pants, and other people are more plotters, but I think that when you're trying to get that many words out in such a short amount of time that you need some sort of outline to help keep you on track. So I think that planning should start. I think you should start before you actually sign up. Yeah. And that's what I did. I learned about NaNo for the first time last year. I've been on Wattpad for about a year and a half, and so a new writer just heard of NaNo last year, and of course I wanted to try it, and I failed. But then I took the Wattpad's Just Write It challenge, and I think their first one mimicked NaNoWriMo, and it was 50,000 words in 30 days. Mm-hmm. And I remember they said, you don't have to do it this month, you can do it next month, and that's what I did. One of the things that NaNo does is once you sign up, they send you helpful tips and motivational quotes and things throughout the month to help keep you motivated and keep you on track. And I took everything that I learned with NaNo and I applied it to Wattpad's Just Write It challenge. And I did my outline, and then I went a step further and I kind of summarized each chapter more or less, and that was really helpful because I didn't get to write every single day. And I think, 50,000 words in 30 days equals 1667 words roughly.
Right, you're just underneath.
Yeah,
words.
yeah. So if you miss a day, and then you miss another day, then you can really you
You're gonna hit yourself. Yeah.
Exactly.
5,000 words a day to write in one day.
Yeah. So it helped me to see what I needed to write for that day and to see where I needed to go, and that was how I stayed on track. And I don't know if it's that way for everybody, but that's what worked for me.
Well, that's great, Darlie. I know that with Wattpad and their Just Write It challenge, it's very, very close to NaNoWriMo, and I think the community, as far as NaNoWriMo goes, it feeds a lot of Wattpadders. And I know that you, I believe, did one of the videos for the Just Write It challenge. It was one of the 30 videos that they had. It was a collection, right? Yes? No? Maybe? I could have sworn that I saw you on there.
I don't know. Maybe. I know I did one for the Waddies, but there were several clips, so they may have used a clip for one of the Just Write It.
Okay, I got you.
I haven't seen it, though, but...
It's somewhere floating around there. Yeah. Darlie's kind of a big deal on Wattpad. All right. Rita, our very own Rita Kovac, she said something great, something that she found on Twitter. I have to keep reminding myself, NaNoWriMo is about word count, not quality. Suck now, edit later. I thought that was so great. That is awesome. Thank you, Rita. You're just the best. You make my heart smile. Jessica, be fun. Can you answer question number 1 for us?
Well, first, I really agree with Darlie for her advice. Start as early as you can doing what you are able to. But if you haven't, don't stress about it. The first thing that you need to do is just stop questioning your skills and your ability as a writer and your value as a writer. You just get started. This is about exploring your writing. This is about a challenge. And you're writing, you're a writer, it's going to be fine, and accept you're going to fail. You're not going to get everything done every day that you want to. You're not even going to make it exactly the way you want it to be, and that's completely okay. You may not even reach 50,000 words, but in the end that doesn't matter, because every word you get on that page, every character you discover, every plot twist you unfold, it's farther along than you were before, and it's very much a journey, and you don't have time for self-doubt. So just chuck that out the window, tell the inner editor to shut up, and have a great time.
Absolutely. I love it. Very important to have a great time doing this, because the community that you're a part of, whether you're on the NaNoWriMo site or you use Wattpad to complete this, the community makes it, because everybody's in the same boat. Everybody's trying to get to that word count, that daily word count, or if they're behind, then you have plenty of people to lean on, because if you're behind, you're not the only one behind. That's just not a possibility. Marian Avalon, what's your most critical piece of advice?
Well, I'd say that if someone's doing NaNoWriMo have several ideas and they can't pick one, they choose which one they really want to do, the one they feel most confident about, and stick to it. I think that's important, because if you start with one idea and then change your mind halfway, it's only going to be frustrating and upsetting, because you'll be like, not enough time, and I have to start all over again, and no one likes that feeling, do they? And I think that just kind of ruins the experience if it has to come to that.
It sounds like you're speaking from experience, Marian. Like you had several ideas going on at the same time, and then it was like you had to pick your favorite child.
Yes, that is true.
It happens. I mean, pick your favorite kid. That one goes to college.
That's one of the things I love about being able to get a million ideas at a time.
I mean, is there certain qualities of I guess because you're working with skeleton ideas. I mean, they're very basic, and yes, they can be huge, but no real details are attached to them. Is there something that you sift through saying, okay, this is good, this is crap? I mean, is there something that, helps you with the judgment?
I'd say the one I have the most ideas that come to me when I think of it. If I've got, say, one line describing the basic plot line, and more scenes come into my mind further on and all that, I think I'll think, all right, I've got more ideas for that one, so I'll work on that one, because if I've got one idea, that's not going to be enough for me.
That makes complete sense. When you got a flow, you go with the thing that flows the best. Yes,
exactly.
Absolutely. I can agree with that. That's great. All right, so, Darlie, I'm going to shift over to you. A large part of NaNoWriMo is budgeting time. How do you stay on top of things when you're on the clock?
I schedule it into my day, preferably early into my day, because then I don't allow myself to do other things until I have met my goal for that day. So if I want to try to write 1,500 words that day, I sit down and I do it, and I don't do anything else until those 1,500 words are written. And I think it's important to treat it like an appointment, because if you don't, you're liable to let everything else get in the way, especially if you write at home. I think, in my personal experience, you know, I'm going to see something, the dishes need done, or the laundry needs folded, or the dog wants outside. There's so many things going on that, you know, I try to treat it like an appointment. And actually, I think it's easier for me to write outside of my house. When I was meeting a deadline over the summer, I would go to the library, and I would lock myself in a quiet room. And I was so productive. I would get so many words in during the day that I couldn't manage to do at home. But yeah, I try to schedule it in early, and then I don't allow myself to do anything else until my goal is met for that day.
That's great. I know that a lot of people, they were talking at the tail end of October, things that you should do in preparation for NaNoWriMo. And one of the things that was, I guess, a repeated bullet on everybody's list was clean your house before NaNoWriMo starts, because it's a huge distraction. And then I was just like, man, or you could just have the mentality, live like a dude. I mean,
just ignore it.
Out of the can. I don't care.
It's amazing how those dishes distract you, because I don't want to do them anyway, but when I'm writing, I'm like, oh, I should probably get those done. So.
What it is about that? Like, it's just all of a sudden you're writing, and then, oh yeah, of course I need to do the dishes. Yeah. Way of procrastinating. But that's great that you're using your public library as a way of finding, you know, that quiet that you need to give yourself the utmost focus. That's great. That's fantastic. Do you
research? You've got all the stuff you need right there.
Oh yeah, for research? You got books, you got microfilm, you got newspapers. I mean, everything is right there. That's great. When you're at home, are you a more productive writer in the morning or at night? I'm gonna give this to all the ladies.
Oh,
that depends.
Yeah, it varies. I'm not really a morning person, but I'm not really a night person either. So
I just in between night and day. Yeah,
I know. Once I'm in the zone, no matter what time it is, once I'm in the zone, then I'm productive. Getting to that zone.
Marion, are you the same way, or are you more productive in the morning or at night?
Yeah, I'm a bit more like Darlie, actually.
Okay. Jessica?
For me, early mornings, like first thing at between 5 and 7, is very, very creative, and then between midnight and 3 in the morning is also really great. The worst times are afternoons.
Midnight and 3 in the morning? What?
Well, yeah, I'll forget about the time, and I'll just keep writing, and my husband gets annoyed with me. Like, you need to come to bed, and like, no, one more chapter, just one more chapter. But afternoons are the worst time for me, personally. There's something about as soon as you have lunch, it's like from 1 in the afternoon to 4 o'clock is just, and that's when everyone wants to do things. And like, no, I hate afternoons.
Yeah, I think I'm a bit like that too.
That's great. I don't know. I guess I'm more of a night owl, so I get more done at night.
Yes.
I don't know what it is. I think it's because it's quiet. It's more quiet. I don't know. Okay, so let's get on to question number 2. A lot of second guessing happens during November. Will anyone actually like this? These characters are so not believable. I'm not even halfway done and I hate my plot now. These moments of self-doubt may sound familiar. How do you know when you should press on or scrap the idea completely and go back to the drawing board? Jessica, I'm going to start with you on this one.
Okay, so one of my first tips for that, keep ongoing notes all the way through this. I'm a big proponent of story Bibles, even though I'm very much a pantser. I love discovering things, but sometimes you wind up with these big knots, like what you're talking about, and you need to know, okay, what on earth was I thinking? It may require a total scrap, but you may be able to salvage it. So then when you're still feeling uncertain after you've checked to make sure, okay, something's going wrong here, then remember, this is very common. You're not going for perfection. Just keep getting the words. And don't delete it. Do not throw it away, whatever you do. Even if it's total crap, you'll look back on it in 20 years and you'll laugh at yourself and it'll be wonderful.
It's just a moment for you and yourself. Yeah.
That's right. You and yourself. Like, was serious? Yeah, you're going to have some great moments. But before you start from scratch, I would always recommend at least sleep on it. And then start digging back in, because oftentimes what I see from talking, particularly with my creative writing students and such, is that they get really nervous about what's happening, and so then in a moment of panic they want to delete everything and start a new story, and that'll fix everything. And it won't. It's, you know, there's going to be these kinds of hiccups. So if you realize you're still stuck, then keep working, start from scratch, but never delete it. So if you can't work through something, yeah, give yourself the freedom to start over if you want to. There's nothing wrong with that, but save it, and the words still count.
There you go. Yeah, and they still count, even if they're scratchy words. They're still on the word count. Absolutely, I love that. And I think a lot of the time, especially if you're a night writer, well, you could be an early morning writer too. The things that you write in the middle of the night or really, really early in the morning sometimes are not going to gel with the rest of the story for whatever reason. So don't give yourself too much of a hard time. If you read something that you wrote the previous morning or the previous night and you're just like, what was I thinking 24 hours ago? You're not alone. You're not alone.
Yes.
Marion, question number 2. What do you got for us?
So, to me, the first thing to remember is the self-doubt. Self-doubt is inevitable. It's going to happen whether you like it or not. And in fact, I would say it's a part of the process, because sometimes people who don't doubt aren't as good quite as they like to think. For instance, if you know How to Train Your Dragon, the character Snotlout is always bragging and saying, "Oh, I'm so much better than everyone else," never doubting himself, and it often turns out to play tricks on him. So doubting isn't bad. It's actually, to me, proof that you care for your work, because you want it to be the best it can be. And as for knowing when to press on or scratch and start again, that is not an easy answer, that's true. I would say that the only real way to know is to follow your instinct.
I can't argue with that. Yeah, absolutely. It needs to be instinctual. But I kind of like the sleep on it. You know, before you listen to that instinct, make sure that you sleep on. I think that initial instinct, it should give you a sign. It should say, "Hey, this is like caution light," you know. And then the next day, 24 hours or 48 hours later, you determine whether it's a green light or a red light. Yeah, I got you. Thank you, Miss Marion.
No problem.
Darling, what do you got for us?
I feel like it's time to move on if you don't have the passion for your story, because if you don't feel passionate about it, then I don't think that the readers are going to feel passionate about it either. I think that they can kind of pick up on how you're feeling as you're writing it. I think that when a writer is really excited and they're really into their story, it just shows through. And I think that's been my experience too. One of the stories that I put on Wattpad, I was so excited writing it. I was into the characters. I was into what was going on. I was so excited, and the readers were excited, and it had to have been because they felt it coming from me. And it's by far the story that I've written for Wattpad that has done the best. And I just think that it's they felt it. They felt my excitement for it. So if you don't have passion for your story, you either need to try to find it, or it's time to move on.
I like that. When you lose that emotional connection to your story, to your characters, to your plot, yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. In fact, if you're getting to that point where you're finding a little bit of that seesaw emotion, whether oh, should I move on or should I go, or I mean, whatever lingering doubts you have, try doing something outlandish with your story, like killing off a main character or something. I mean, just something completely out of the box, and maybe you'll find it. Maybe you'll find your center again. But like Jessica said, don't delete anything, because yes, you might think, oh yeah, it'll be awesome if we kill off the love interest, and then a couple chapters later you realize, oh man, I couldn't have, I can't do that. I can't. All right, yeah. Very good stuff. I like it a lot. And I do want to let everybody know that's watching, because it's such a big issue, we're going to be doing an entire episode on self-doubt and how to rechannel it later this month. So stay tuned, Wattpad Nation. We're delivering episodes every single Sunday during during NaNoWriMo. So we hope to help you out. Like I said, if you got any advice that you'd like to shell out in the comments, things that have really helped you, that you believe could help somebody else, use our comment section, use this chat, use our hashtag, and please share it. Question number 3. The support system during NaNoWriMo is a major highlight. Tell us about someone who has motivated you. What did he or she do? What did he or she say? Miss Fry?
Let's see. Actually, I have to go with one of the most memorable ones from last year. I had this reader who started reading my story, and I had no idea who this individual was, except he seemed to know an awful lot about me. And I was posting this during NaNoWriMo, doing a regular updates for Tura, and this reader tells me, you're moving too slow. When I see you at church, I'm totally going to get you, because you've got to finish this story now, or else I'm not going to let you have your... And then it ended, and I had no idea what I wasn't going to get. And so, of course, that sort of freaked me out. And then I found out it was my little brother, who thought that he had told me that he was on Wattpad, and he's been reading my stories, and he's so ticked off, and he was sending me these live notices like, don't you dare kill that character. No. And yes, he has seriously held tasks hostage until I finish things, because he wants to know what happened. And I did kill off one of his favorite characters. I didn't know it was his favorite character.
How dare you!
Yes, it was hysterical. We were on the plane together on our way to a mission trip when he found that out. And I heard him in the back like, Jessica, what did you do? Like, love you, kiddo. But it was very motivating, though not in the way I anticipated, and it was so memorable. He sometimes forgets that he doesn't tell me these things. Like, don't just randomly tell people on the internet you're gonna get them. It's like, but you're my sister. Like, yeah, but I didn't know that.
But they don't know that. No, neither does anybody else. Like, seriously,
right.
People might be concerned for your well-being.
Yes, particularly with my track record. But everything worked out fine. It was very motivating, and he will make sure that the stories get done if he has anything to say about it. And he was so sweet. He told me that he would come and take care of the cats for me, so that I could have more time writing. So he's a good support, but he's very opinionated on which characters should not die.
Well, of course.
And so I killed him.
Story. Absolutely, Miss Marion Avalon.
Okay, so most of the motivation I get is from people who tell me, this is amazing, keep writing, and that alone makes the hard work behind it worth it. But I think the first time I really felt motivated was when a friend of mine, off Wattpad, once looked at one of my old stories, which is probably terrible now, and just said, you have something. And it doesn't sound like much as is, but I think it was from that point that I seriously began thinking, I want to write. That's what I like doing, and that's what I want to do. And I think, well, that was sort of a turn point for me, and that's been from there that I've been pushing myself since then.
Well, that's great. I love that. That's awesome. Thank you, Marion. Darling, what do you got for us?
Well, support during NaNoWriMo, I find that NaNoWriMo itself, the community, is very supportive. The messages that they send throughout the month are really motivating, and there's some really good tips in there. And then NaNoWriMo is, you can find, it's separated into regions. Like, you can find your region there. And I found a NaNoWriMo group that meets, I think it's like once a week, like 3 miles from my house. And I haven't yet met with them, but it's nice to know that they're there and that there's a group of them all supporting each other. And then as Wattpad goes, I think the readers are really the most motivating and supportive. I love their comments. I don't get to respond to them as much as I used to, with so many different stories up on Wattpad now, and different stories that are being added. It's hard to keep up with all of the comments sometimes, but that doesn't mean that I don't, get to. I try to get in there and I try to look at them, and the readers themselves I find to be the most motivating and supportive.
Absolutely, gotta love those readers.
Yeah.
Got to. All right, and this is something I'm gonna give to our live audience. Distractions. We all have them. How do you deal with yours, panel? Elaborate. I'm gonna start with Jessica.
Mercilessly. You deal with those distractions immediately. Now, obviously, kids and family that you can, students, you can't throw them out physically. You actually have to deal with them. They require that. But as far as things like the television, the radio, the internet, Facebook, I've developed a no tolerance policy in my own writing. If it's distracting me and it's not a sentient being that will be upset if I ignore it or get in trouble somehow, I just shut it off. Because otherwise what happens is I'll put on Netflix, I'm just going to get a little bit of inspiration here, just watch some X-Files, and it'll play in the background, and suddenly,
later, what?
I'm watching it, yeah, and I'm not even watching X-Files anymore. It's transitioned into something else, and like, why did I put in that movie? I mean, there's times when that works, and sometimes, you need to find out what works best for you. Some people do work better with a little bit of music playing or a movie they've seen 1,000 times. But, I mean, as much as I love The Avengers, I can't play it. I have to keep watching it, and I know I can't put that on. So, yeah, be absolutely merciless. Save your mercy for people who have feelings and who care. And you can use devices to block access to Facebook and Wattpad. As much as I love it, I can't leave it on sometimes because I'm too tempted to go and say, oh, yes, hello, and look, another chapter on a story I love. And real life doesn't care how I spend my time. It uses up its time anyway.
So, okay, you're talking about like apps and devices that block social networks? I call them the power button and closing the window. Like, what are you using?
That's actually the one that I use. In all fairness, I just turn off the internet.
But I guess. I don't know.
That's right. I will actually. I'll tell you what. I will get some links to some things that other friends use. But I just unplug the internet personally. That's path
of least resistance. Why not?
It works. But there are some.
Understand, like some people, they have to have internet open for email or something like that, like an email client. So I mean, I understand that, but I don't know. It just seems.
And some of them have timers on them. Like after you write for 2 hours, your Facebook account gets released. So
it's like a program that holds your social networks hostage.
It does. It does indeed. I'll pull those up because they're very useful, particularly during NaNoWriMo.
Yeah, no, that's great. I love that. Marion, what about you?
Well, I'm not quite as good a student as Jessica. I'm terrible with distractions, honestly. I often write with on my computer with the TV on in the background, and I usually have my various social media open. What I'll often do is I'll write for a few minutes, and then I'll pop something else for a few minutes, then get back to my writing. I guess I like to I mean, I try and stay on my story sometimes. Like, I'll focus on my story for a little while and stay on that. But I like to take my mind off it just a bit, few minutes so I don't get frustrated or feel like I'm forcing myself if I'm not quite sure how to keep going in at that exact moment. And sometimes I'll hop on another window and look at something, and I'll go back to it, and then, oh, that's how I can do it. So I suppose that, I mean, everyone's different, but when it comes to distractions, I'd say I'd use what I would describe as control distractions. I mean, sometimes, yes, as Jessica said, distractions are bad, but I don't necessarily agree every time. I mean, yes, they're dangerous, but I don't like to completely block them out, because then I never know why one of them might get an idea, because several times I see something and oh, actually could be a good idea. And sometimes if you block everything out, you might miss things like that.
Sure, you
But
can easily miss things like that. But I think I'm more kind of, ooh, something bright and shiny, and I'm going to go chase it for a long time. I don't know what it is about it. It's just, yeah. My decision-making process, it looks a lot like a squirrel crossing a street, like very, very closely similar. Darlie, what about you?
Yeah, well, when I'm at home, my biggest distractions are my kids. So I use bribery a lot. There's a lot of that going on around here. And then if the dishes and the laundry, those are always an issue. I'll put one on one duty and one on the other, and give me 2 hours and I'll take you to McDonald's. A lot of that going on around here. I do some writing at work too, because I work third shift, and I do have some downtime at work, but it's never quiet. I have people coming in and out of my room, the phone's ringing, there's alarms going off, there's all sorts of stuff going on. A coworker comes in. You write when you can, and if I have downtime then that's, I probably don't think I'm very nice, because I give them a lot of dirty looks. Like when it's finally all calmed down and I can sit and I can start writing and they start coming in my room, I'm just like, you need to leave. So yeah, they probably don't think I'm all that nice. But yeah, you just deal with your distractions as best you can. Especially when you are busy. I mean, you do have a very limited time to write. You need to make it work.
And I think everybody's distractions are the same and different. I mean, it's a weird kind of contrast, but yes, I mean, there are going to be people that have kids. There are going to be people that have very high-maintenance pets. There are going to be people that have school, this, that, and the other. And it's exactly like you said. You got to find the time. You got to commit to it. And the great thing about NaNoWriMo is that you have a bunch of people doing it with you. Everybody's kind of holding hands and holding pens all at the same time, which is awesome. Okay, and I'm kind of reading over some of these things on the live chat, and definitely people with kids. There was Issa Archangel. She was what is it? Yeah, she said bribery. I feel you, darling. So she's definitely on board with that. Yeah. I think that a lot of people they're gonna find really unique ways to deal with distractions by voicing the problems that they're having during the month, and then using other people as sounding boards. Kind of, hey, what are you having trouble with? Is this kind of interrupting your life? How are you dealing with it? I mean, parents, they all trade horror stories. I know my parents probably traded plenty with other parents. But it's just kind of finding those commonalities and then expanding on them and then finding solutions. So as you go through the month of November, reach out to people that are writing stories as well, because even if it might not be your genre that you prefer, the conversation kind of speaks for itself. It's going to be, I promise, you're going to have a good time if you've never done this before. We're going to carry over to the portion of the broadcast that we call Pass the Salt. It's a way of adding a little extra flavor to these broadcasts. It is just an honest observation, opinion, quote, or factoid in 140 characters or less. After sharing theirs on the broadcast, these wonderful ladies are going to tweet them using the hashtag TCBWatts. So check those out. Give them some favorites. Give them some retweets. I'm sure they'd appreciate it. Jessica Fry, what do you got for Pass the Salt?
All right. Well, this is what I've got for this week. NaNoWriMo isn't just about reaching 50,000 words. It's about pushing your limits, silencing your inner critic, and discovering stories and characters of which you only dreamed.
Yeah, I like it. That's awesome.
Nice.
Thanks, Jess. Marion.
When you're not sure if what you're doing is right, trust your writer's gut. It'll know, even if you don't.
Thank you very much, Marion. Darling.
The first step in writing is always the hardest. It is only an idea and not an achievement.
Ooh, darling, can you repeat that? I only got a piece of it. Is she only...
Sure.
Okay, there we go. There we go. I think you're good.
Writing is always the idea of your story remains achievement. Am I gone?
No. We can, or at least what I'm hearing is bits and pieces of it. You're a little blurry right now. But if you tweet it out, I will give it a retweet. Everybody will probably give it a retweet. But I definitely want to see it.
Okay.
At least that way. Okay, I'm going to head over to the wrap-up of our broadcast. Yes, we are almost at the end. About 9 minutes left. We call this Chick Please. And like I said, it's just a summary of what's going on this week. One thing in particular is if you go over to the Corner Booth's or Wattpad page, you're going to see a book called Contests, I believe that's the title. And Lindsay Lippincott does a great job with hosting these contests. She's the mastermind behind all of this. And every 10 episodes, we do what we call the Nom 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 contest. That's what we're calling it now. Because you're being nominated by another Wattpadder to as an entry to the contest. So if you have a story that you just can't get off your mind, or a Wattpadder that you just really love and you want to give them the recognition that you believe they deserve, cruise on over to our Wattpad page and find our contest. It's number 3. So if you open up that contest book, then you'll see it right there. I believe they're going to be accepting nominations all the way up until the 8th of November at midnight. I believe, yes, at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, November 8th, which is next Sunday. And the first round of judges, because it goes through 2 rounds of judging, there is the story of Ashlyn, who is Ashlyn McCowan. Jessica B. Fry is on that panel. Kellyanne Blount and Aimee Diaz, who is more often regarded as Rose Aimee. And they're going to pick out their favorite from the selections that they're given. And then their favorite selection is going over to the guest judge, which this time is our friend Taryn Matheru. So really, really, really good stuff over there on the Corner Booth page. Let's see, going down over to the next part of my little notes here. The Wattpad 4, every single Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, they do a Twitter chat using their own hashtag, Wattpad the number 4. If you want to meet these incredible ladies and just dish out on a lot of the writing process, check them out. It's a great way to spend your Monday. Miss Jessica, I believe you have a little information on what people can do with their Tuesdays.
Oh, yes. So the Wattpadres, sorry, my pronunciation was off, we're meeting at 8 p.m. On Tuesdays to continue our discussions. This week we're talking about developing effective disciplines for writing, and I get to host that one. Amber has been magnificently managing the Twitter chats for these past few times, and so this will be my first time getting to try that out, and we'd love to see you there. Oh, and before I forget, if you need one more tip for NaNoWriMo, grab random writing prompts and add them into your story. It doesn't matter what they are. If you want to do a completely crazy novel, just grab random writing prompts, and then seriously, in the middle of this dark horror novel, Pink Cheshire Cat shows up. But it's one way to discover new things.
That's a great tip. I love that. That is awesome. All of a sudden, some weird pink cat is in the middle of this.
That's right.
That's great.
It's fun.
With a huge print.
Yes, I did it one year. I did a complete prompt novel. I had no idea what was going on, and just grabbing random prompts and coming up with this 50,000 word story. It was interesting. Couldn't understand it.
Do whatever you got to do to make it happen. I'm a firm believer in that.
That's right.
Okay. That's okay. I do want to let you know that the Word Nerds are doing their broadcast right after ours over on their channel at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time, of course. And I believe they're also kicking off NaNoWriMo. They are part of NaNoWriMo's site, I believe, this year. They have a great honor to do that. So if you want to keep up with these NaNoWriMo videos, go check them out. Like I said, they're just you just search Word Nerds, I believe, and YouTube will take you there. So with that, we are going to be doing something new this next week for episode 32. It will air on next Sunday, which is November 8th. But we're doing a previously recorded broadcast. It's what we call a canned episode. And the title of episode 32 is Q, the Q of Qs. So the entire episode, it's going to be answering your questions. Any question that we receive this week, either if it's on Wattpad, or if it's on Twitter, or if it's on YouTube, anywhere that we can collect these questions, we're going to answer them for next broadcast. So if you have something that's on your mind, if you need a piece of advice, if you just want to know something really random, please ask. And we'd love to fill that hour that way. It's kind of a tip of the hat to everybody who watches these broadcasts on a weekly basis. So with that being said, we hope to see you here next week, same time, same great channel. Panel, if you would please say good night.
Night.
Bye.
Happy writing.
Good luck with every NaNoWriMo writer.